He stood outside the tea house, the violent wind chilling his spine and turning his breath to ice, but he does not move. He watches the snow meld with the blood that drips from his robes, the macabre crimson patterns leaving behind tangible proof of his violence. He never thought he could hurt so many people, let alone kill. This is the story of the 100 Yoshiwara Slash. In the far distant past of Japan's rich history, beneath the serene landscape of the three holy mountains, a violent and near constant civil war and social upheaval was about to cause a dynamic shift in the powers that be. It was on October 21st, 1600, on the rolling hills of a nondescript but tranquil valley that 160,000 men stood beneath the shadows of the mountains as they faced each other in combat. They all knew that by the end of this day, the landscape of the country and its political climate would forever be changed. It was known as the Battle of Sekigahara. The 6-hour battle between the Tokugawa clan fighting for the east and the Yoshida clan fighting for the west left frayed banners, broken spears and shattered swords scattered across the valley. Although the screams of the dying enveloped the battlefield like a thick mist, and the miasma of death would haunt the men for the rest of their lives, the Tokugawa forces were victorious despite their large loss in numbers, and the new chapter in Japan's history had just begun, as the Sengoku period finally came to an end. "90 years after the Battle of Sekigahara, the city of Edo, which would later become modern-day Tokyo, had been seeing a massive influx of culture by the now ruling Tokugawa shogunate. But even they couldn't possibly predict the unspeakable event that was looming over the city. Built along the 800-yard stretch of the Nihon embankment, with its far-reaching roofs being beautifully framed by the rose-tinged clouds, and its streets flooded with the vibrant colors of the courtesans' dresses, this small district nestled in the corner of the city was building the foundations of Edo period culture. It was from here that a large array of disciplines were being developed and mastered. This included such arts as kabuki theater, traditional music, poetry, sumi art, and high fashion. The influence it held over the city was so powerful that even the women in the highest echelons of society began to mimic the dresses of the courtesans, and the beautiful artworks crafted by the masterful hands of the district were being proudly hung on the walls of any home that could afford them. It was established between 1617 and 1618 when the Tokugawa shogunate had decided to fund and construct multiple pleasure districts across the country, including one in Kyoto and Osaka. But it was this small quarters that held the biggest impact, and it was known as Yoshiwara. The district itself held more than 100 tea houses, each associated with a particular brothel, and the melodic sounds of the shamisen drifted through the streets like a siren's call to the visitors. They'd stop in at Yoshiwara at one of the many tea houses for rest and entertainment, and of course, be entranced by the beautiful women beckoning them from the latticed windows. But there was a dark side to this cultural Eden. It was a place where the procurers of flesh, known as Zigen, would purchase the young daughters of poor households to be exploited. Most of the girls in Yoshiwara were forced to work to pay back the money that was given to their parents, a task that was seemingly impossible to complete, and the owners didn't show any form of care or sympathy that the girls were forced to spend each night with a random customer. But the sad truth was, there was a limited number of jobs women could do during this time, so earning a living as a courtesan at Yoshiwara was actually considered a viable option. Once a girl was purchased and arrived at one of the many establishments, they would start at the rank of kamuro, or attendant girl. Although they were only expected to work on the second floor, plying the customers with sake, providing simple entertainment from dances and music, and even attending to maid-like duties, it cannot be guaranteed they were not bought by customers with a certain disposition. Once they turned 15 years old, however, a little ceremony was held as they'd now wear the outfit of a courtesan and would be given the rank of shinzo, where they would now sit on display to the customers in a room on the first floor with a latticed front. It'd be their job to entice customers inside with the promises of drink and debauchery, and of course if they were picked out, it was expected that they performed whatever was asked of them and to make sure the customers would return. And finally, if the establishment was large enough, you had the rank of oiran. It was said men would usually have to visit the brothel 3 separate times before being accepted. You see, the roles had been reversed, as the oiran had a pick of the clients. Each night, the customer had to not only show that they had the money to afford such a high-ranking courtesan, but also were willing to pay a gift of money, as well as giving a handsome tip to the owners. How much money the customers would have to spend would vary from one establishment to another, but it's safe to say it was quite a large sum. This was a dream for most of the girls at Yoshiwara, as being an oiran meant they had a chance to gain their freedom via a proposed position as a wife or mistress to a rich samurai or merchant. And it is here our story truly begins, as it's widely believed this is the path that one woman by the name of Yatsuhashi had taken. She was considered the most beautiful courtesan in the entire district, as men would fight for her attention and wait for days while spending an unseemly amount of money in the local tea house. And although the ritual of gaining the oiran's attention has been debated by historians, for Yatsuhashi, it was certain customers would do anything to spend a night with her. But for one customer, he wanted more than just a single night of lust. He wanted her love, and would do anything to get it. His name was Sano Hirozumon.